What's up everybody, it's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and in this video we're going to be starting the 4th campaign DLC as a part of my Overpower Level 8 Sniper Zer0 playthrough. Thus far we have made it through most of the game. We've gone through the entire main campaign and all of the side quests associated with it, as well as the 3 previous campaign DLCs. This is the final of the major campaign DLCs for Borderlands 2, unfortunately, and for a lot of people it is considered to be the best. Probably the strongest part about this particular DLC is its story. We're getting a little introduction to it here. All the campaign DLCs do have a cutscene at the beginning of them. This one here is explaining that Brick, Mordecai, and Lilith are playing a game of Bunkers and Badasses with Tiny Tina here as the Dungeon Master. Bunkers and Badasses is just Pandora's version of the classic role-playing game, Dungeons & Dragons. So, we're going to go ahead and get started here before too long, but this is where you first get introduced to the idea that this entire DLC is more or less taking place in Tina's head, and that she will be in control of it. And then, you're also going to learn that this particular deal that's going on here, this whole game, is kind of Tiny Tina coping with the fact that Roland is now gone, because he was, quite possibly, her best friend in the entire universe. Or at least on Pandora. So we're going to get started here. As you can see, all the other Vault Hunters are a little bit lost for words when Tina brings up that she thinks Roland's coming. And Lilith is kind of the one who tries to comfort her the most or be the most real with her at the same time. Both explain that he's not coming and try to do it softly at the same time. So we're going to get started here. The whole premise of this DLC is very novel, and it's also very cool. It's something that I wasn't really expecting until I had seen the, previews for it and stuff. So we arrive here, and it looks nice. Lilith is also the one who takes the role-playing the most seriously of the group, and she'll bring Tiny Tina, to reality a couple times, encouraging Tiny Tina to change some of the things that are going on. So, I do think this DLC is very good, but some people act as if the DLC has no shortcomings, and I would disagree with that particular assessment of the DLC. I don't find that to be true at all. There are some enemies in this DLC that are more chore than challenge, and I never think that that is a particularly good game design when things aren't necessarily challenging. They're just a huge chore to deal with. And some of the enemies in this DLC are definitely like that. Some of the skeletons who disappear and stuff, and some of the archer-type enemies, especially the, I don't know if they're called Ultimate Badass Archers, but the Ultimate Badass Human Archers are very much so like that. They are basically just really accurate damage over time sprayers, and there's a couple other things in this DLC that people overlook as being poor just because there are a lot of other things to like about this DLC. But personally, if I was to pick a best DLC in Borderlands 2, it would be the first campaign DLC for me. Well, the best DLC would be the one that added Digistruct Peak, in my mind, or the one that added Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, I guess. But beyond that, I mean, of the campaign DLCs, I actually like the Pirate DLC the best. That's not to say this DLC isn't great. It definitely is. It adds a lot of good gear. Namely, the Antagonist and Chain Lightning are real game changers. Well, the Blockade as well. So, 2 of the best defensive shields in the game come from this particular DLC, and so that's pretty cool. And also, the Chain Lightning is an invaluable tool for Melee Zero. So, it's definitely a great DLC gear-wise. There's some other good gear in here as well. The Omen's a pretty solid shotgun, and some of the other stuff is nice. The Sword Explosion, etc. Now, this DLC, it takes a little more risks than some of the other campaign DLCs, I would say. They try some new things in this particular DLC, like scripted scenes like this, for example, where you're just kind of waiting for things to happen, and that's alright. It's just things like this, they are kind of only enjoyable once. Like this thing here, you're just kind of, now that you know what's happening, you just kind of wait for it to happen. And, I guess they have to do that, for the first-time players and everything, but that's something that is always kind of a little bit weird about Borderlands, which encourages multiple playthroughs and stuff like that. One irritating thing about the series as a whole is normal mode, and the fact that the game has one of the slowest starts in all of gaming. It is absolutely unbearable. I find that the game is not fun before you develop your characters and stuff. Like, yes, Borderlands is a first-person shooter, and it's a first-person shooter that does things fairly well, shooting mechanics-wise, but what truly makes the game enjoyable to play is the combination of RPG elements and the shooting elements and stuff. Now, unfortunately, the game isn't that strong, in my opinion, at low levels before characters have skill points to work with, before the RPG elements really mean anything. All the characters are basically the same at the start, and that's something that I am not a fan of. If there was an option just to start the game straight up at level 50 at the start of Ultimate Vault Hunter mode with a handful of randomly assigned gear, and maybe you just, it's like, is this gear good? Or roll again, like before you start a new game or whatever. Because personally, the idea of playing normal mode to me is just absolutely asinine. It seems like that is a complete waste of the player's time. It's a complete waste of everyone with a brain equal to the size of a gerbil's brain. I can't imagine any of those people would have any trouble at all with normal mode, and it just seems that normal mode's a huge waste of time. And they make you play through these stories, every playthrough, or at least the main story every playthrough, and that is something that I see as a huge waste. I find it harder to appreciate the story, appreciate any parts of it that are supposed to be epic or challenging when the entire game is basically just a waste of time. I would consider normal mode the most difficult mode in the game to play because I find it incredibly difficult to stay awake or at least enthused about playing normal mode. It's so incredibly dreadfully boring that I can't really imagine anyone, playing through it multiple times. And apparently there are people who do. I don't know how, but yeah, I would never do that. Borderlands 2, I mean, the novelty of it wore off before I was done with normal mode the first time. True Vault Hunter mode was okay. The difficulty in True Vault Hunter mode is still lacking. This game really became enjoyable for me at the release of Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. Before that, I don't think the characters had enough skill points to make them truly dynamic. I don't think the game offered any semblance of difficulty, and it was just a poor game until Ultimate Vault Hunter came out. And that's one of the things that I absolutely hated the most about the pre-sequel, that they would have the audacity to release that game without Ultimate Vault Hunter mode at launch. I hope that is not a mistake they make with Borderlands 3. And when and if Borderlands 3 is ever released, I'll be skipping normal and True Vault Hunter mode. I'll just go ahead and give myself to the start of Ultimate Vault Hunter mode because I don't want to spoil the story on normal mode. I don't want to play the game on normal mode. I don't want every quest to be spoiled on normal mode. That is something that I don't like. And that's something that is appreciable about this particular DLC. It was released after the inclusion of Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, and so that was something that made this particular story and campaign a lot more fun to play through for a lot of people, I would imagine. And it probably happened for a lot of people without them even realizing it, and I think that's one of the reasons why people happen to remember this DLC so fondly. I could be wrong, but that's at least something that I think.
Forgot to put a piece on the board.
So they bring in a whole bunch of characters from the main game and stuff and other DLCs. And yes, Ellie definitely does have problems. That level of morbid obesity is scary, and it's becoming more and more common. It's something that is definitely, very scary. Here in the context of a fantasy game, it is acceptable, but people like that in real life, I mean, people might call it fat phobia, but phobia doesn't really mean disgust and repulsed by. It means scared of. And I'm not really scared of them. Well, I'm scared of the damage they're going to do to the economy, but more repulsed. So, however you would want to define that. And working in a healthcare industry has only made me more fearful of, well, see, I guess that sounds phobic, but more fearful of the damage they're doing to the economy. It's crazy that people pay insurance, for that they'll never use, because they're healthy and stuff, and then that subsidizes insurance for people who truly don't care about their health. It seems strange to me, but that's how it works, so we can talk about that another time. So here we meet Davlin. He comes back a little bit later, but he just sounds nefarious right off the bat. And that is something that it is kind of funny because you know, it's kind of I find it at least somewhat comical when they, you know, script things from that far out that anyone could tell it's coming. And I don't know, it's kind of funny to me that they do that. Some people might think that's silly, but that little novelty is something that I do appreciate. Alright, so we'll begin to blow up these scouting things. Perfect. Basically, you just blow up a barrel and then it goes and burns the blimp's tether and eventually the blimp. So that's kind of neat. Oops, these guys aren't weak to fire. Some of these skeletons are enemies that I would consider more chore than challenge. I don't like the fact that their heads fall off if you shoot them with Lyudas. The Lyuda is probably my favorite weapon in the game, and it's sad to see, you know, enemies just be specifically designed to almost counter traditional sniper rifles. And there seems to be more enemies like that than there really should be, in my opinion. And that's one of the gripes that I do have with this particular DLC. There are other particular instances of gameplay. Obviously, the Handsome Dragon is another thing that I don't find to be enjoyable in any capacity. I actually think that that is the worst boss in the game. And so there's just a few things like that that, I don't know, just aren't the best to me. Now, they do introduce some different gameplay puzzles and stuff in this particular DLC, and I think that's pretty cool. I do kind of like puzzles in shooters and everything. I don't necessarily like puzzles when the other gameplay is missing, though. Like, a puzzle shouldn't take priority over it shouldn't take priority over the traditional gameplay, you know, your average combat scenarios. The puzzle should take place within the combat. That would be the ideal situation in my mind.
Oh, come on, all right. I'm sorry. I'll never say nothing douchey again, I promise. Bitch!
Unacceptable! Chase him down! Punch him so hard he explodes!
So, Zero is probably the best for this because Execute makes it a lot easier to catch him, which is awesome. And they did a good job there. So, like I said, Lilith takes the role-playing most seriously, and she'll ask for Torg to be thrown in the stocks here, which is kind of funny. So we'll go ahead and turn this in, and then we'll head into the forest. Now, of course, they had to bring in barrels for this particular DLC. Always need to have the barrels in Borderlands 2. Now, they say they haven't, or at least the last I heard, is that they say they haven't began work on Borderlands 3 yet. But that would seem, to be honest, rather completely unreasonable to me. I want to see how many side quests there are here. L in Shining Armor. I guess we should pick these up, right? We should pick up the ones that take place.
Alright, fair enough. Okay, Mr. Torg, I banish you to the stocks.
The stocks? Awesome! Anyway, I'm called
So, now we hear more from Davin, who is, like I said, very nefarious sounding.
Survive the horrors of the forest on your own. I shall meet you inside and serve as a guide.
I just want to pick up some of the side quests that we can complete along the way. I am on call, so this video probably won't go forever long, but we'll at least do the next map. Alright, so obviously we'll have a choice of different things to pick. Men belong in the gym. Yeah, we'll take that one as well. Men do belong in the gym. The gym's dope.
Why are you even playing?
Alright.
We all know you aren't actually interested in
I think it Socrates said that no man has ooh. We'll take all of these quests. I think Socrates was the one who said no man has the right to waste his body, or something that more or less was along those lines. And I would agree with that. It's mind-blowing to me that some people just have absolutely no regard for their personal health. It's crazy.
You see Sir Reginald von Bartlesby, aristocrat and Riddlemeister. If you can
I think it was
solve
cool
one
how they
mystery,
brought in
here's
this
your
little
reward.
Varkid. Some people said they didn't even know there was a Varkid in there, and some people said that it was difficult to even notice that there was a Varkid in there on console, where the graphics are obviously subpar, or at least the older
Everybody roll your insight checks.
generation of
To solve that
consoles.
riddle.
I shall repeat the riddle.
All right.
I am everyone and no one. Everywhere.
Brick obviously didn't think he
Don't
was.
slam your dice onto the board. You broke Tina's figurine.
Whoops.
You won. Yay.
Poor Tina.
So what was the answer to the riddle?
I don't know.
And Tina didn't even know the answer to the riddle. It's kind of sad that he broke her little figurine. Some people care a lot about their little, figurines, novelty toys, etc. Some people take that very seriously. I don't mean to poo-poo on anyone's hobby, unless that hobby, adversely affects other people. That would be bad. Like if your hobby was egging houses, okay, your hobby sucks dick. But if your hobby is, playing Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer, etc., that's cool. Some people don't think it's cool. I think, anything that people can do that passes their time and isn't negatively affecting others, that's a good thing, because there are so many things that people can do that do hurt others. And I'm not saying, that everyone needs to go out of their way to watch out for everyone's feelings. I think that some people are a little bit too sensitive on that, but actually physically or monetarily hurting someone is a different story.
Dang, now I gotta come up with a better name for the forest.
Alright, so I guess we'll buy ammo here as the enemies begin to spawn. Now, some of the enemies in here have some combat tactics that are definitely new and unique for the series, or at least the game, and that's pretty cool. These big guys here. One thing I don't like about these guys is that they will try to kill you post-mortem like this. From the grave, they will send out these little shocky ball things, and those can actually do a significant amount of damage, and that is something that is a little bit scary. And the smaller guys are difficult to hit critical hits with a normal sniper rifle against, a traditional sniper rifle, a non-Pimpernel. And that's something that I've never been a huge fan of. I'm not saying enemies have to be easy to get critical hits on, but oh, I guess never mind. I was wrong about that. You actually can get critical hits for shooting them straight in the face. Never mind. I'm wrong there. I thought it was blocked for some reason, kind of like the masked enemies in the third DLC and some of the skeletons. So, no, those are fine. Forget everything I was about to say about that. So we're on our way to finding the queen now.
Left it to Marco.
I'm going to go ahead and kill that pixie, because using the Pimpernel, the pixie will go ahead and get aggroed at me eventually. And so I'm just going to kill it first while there aren't any other bigger enemies around, because I don't want to fight it as we get down here to fight a big heartwood tree ant or anything like that. So, these spiderlings here, they're different than spider ants, and I don't know, they're pretty cool. Some of them have different combat techniques and everything. I do remember the Sorcerer's Daughter being rather difficult to deal with, so we'll see how that goes at the point in time at which I do get there. That obviously won't be in this episode. This is probably the lengthiest of the campaign DLCs, which is something that I think is a positive for this DLC. Still, though, I prefer the first one. The Pimpernel and Rapier are as big of game changers as the Chain Lightning and Antagonist are for me, I would say. And just from a gear perspective, I don't know which one. These two would definitely be the best, I would say, as far as the gear goes. Hammerlock's DLC has some cool stuff. The Interfacer and the Rough Rider were definitely big for a lot of people, and definitely great items to have in the game. The Lead Storm's another really good gun that came from that particular DLC. But for the most part, the first DLC and the fourth DLC have the best gear added by any of the DLCs. This one adds, like I said, the Antagonist, the Chain Lightning, and the Blockade. It also has the Magic Missile, which some people like more than I do. I don't think it's that great, but some people really swear by it. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it. We can get to that at a different point in time. But, yeah, I'm a fan of a lot of things that both of these DLCs add. Obviously, the Sandhawk is another great weapon from the first campaign DLC, and also the Tatler is a good gun there as well. So there's a lot that both DLCs provide that are great. The Orphan Maker from the first DLC.
Ew. Ew.
All right, let's see what we have here in the forest. Oh, maybe I should have done these while I was there. Oh, well, we'll get to those another time. Where does this take place? In the side quest or in the side path area? I think that's what I remember. That girl up there, she's good for something. I don't remember what at this particular moment in time, but something. All right, where are we going? Let's switch it back to this for a moment. Alright, so where is L in Shining Armor? It's been a while since I've done any of these, so it looks like we're going the right way, so that's good. That's what I thought.
Where you going?
We're exploring.
You may not want to do that. I only balance the combat on the main path and...
Oh no.
I only balance the combat on the main path. That's funny. So as we see here, these are going to be like super high level. This one, they're like comically high, 123 and 118.
How in the hell are we supposed to kill these things?
Ah, my bad, my bad! Fix it! Let me fix it!
So she takes those away, and then she brings in different ones, but we want to watch out for these shock balls. Alright. Cool, so now we'll kill these. Obviously, these Heartwood Tree Ants are quote-unquote bosses, and they actually do have a chance to drop the B shield, which, for a lot of people, is, I don't want to say necessary to play the game, but some people seem to think that. I feel like the B for Zero in mobbing scenarios is a lot of times almost counterproductive, because he truly doesn't need the B to do enough damage to kill some enemies. Obviously, for raid bosses, especially at OP8, the difference in time it takes to kill them is huge, and it can make killing some of them a lot easier.
Here's where the militia used to forge their armor before the sorcerer turned them all into skeletons. They ought to have something in my size around here.
So this is kind of cool. So we'll find the armor.
Looks like somebody hid the armor up in that there tray. Might want to give it a little love tap so it'll drop the goods.
Oops, I guess we punch it to do that. Alright, so this is some rather
That ain't armor.
skimpy armor, kind of poking fun at the RPGs. I wouldn't cover half a tit. Oh, that's classy.
Something with some more heft to it.
Find less atrociously sexist armor. So we'll go ahead and open this.
Now that's what we're talking about.
Now, what should we give to Ellie?
100% badass.
In real life,
Got a
I would
choice, my hose.
almost demand for her to wear that, but
Or do you grab the more
in the
boo-boo?
game, we'll grab this one just because it's funny in the context of the game. Is that hypocritical? Maybe.
Suit, huh? I guess I could make an eye patch out of it or something.
I don't know. Like, I don't mean to be a terrible person, but when you have to sit in the double wide seat in the waiting room at the hospital, like I'm not a physician. I'm not a licensed medical practicer. I work in the IT section of the hospital, but I can diagnose that problem. Hey, my knees hurt all the time. Hey, my back hurts. Yeah, I think we know why. So we'll avoid all of those shock balls, and then we'll go over here. Like I said, I don't think it's great that this attacks from the death. That is kind of strange. So we'll open this up, and didn't get anything special. Those little dice roll chests are neat. They should have had more uses for Iridium, I'd say, and so it's good when they do have those options for it. Uses for it. Alright, so we're blowing up spiders. We'll go turn that quest into L eventually. Probably getting pretty close to the end of this episode. And as always, guys, I do thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm looking forward to playing through this DLC. Not looking forward to the Magic Slaughter. We'll see if I actually do that or put that off until after the Headhunter packs and stuff. I may do that. Who knows? So we'll go talk to this guy here. Is there a quest down there? What's going on with this? There's a quest down there, right? Whatever. We'll get to it another time, I guess.
A dead end. There must be some way through.
I forgot what we have to do here. It's been forever since I played this.
This is Orcish writing. It says you need to bathe the artifacts in the juices of blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Looks like you just need to
Collect some blood fruit.
Tina's,
What the hell? What's a blood fruit?
It's a squishy thing that grows on
Tina's kind of funny. I mean, the way that Tina has to, you know, is basically saying the lines for these people, it's kind of funny. You know, anyone who's not present at the table, she is saying their lines, and so that's pretty cool. Some of these orcs are well done. They definitely add variety to the charging type enemies, much like the pirate DLC did, and I appreciate that. Is that an ammo shrine? I forget what color all of the different shrines are here. If it's ammo, I'll take it. Defense shrine. Ah, I guess it's helpful. Ooh. Uh-oh. I want to kill that warlord guy. Oh my. Oh my. So yeah, we need to figure out a way to deal with these little guys, especially these exploder guys. They seem to be the ones that are kind of dealing a lot of damage to me. If we can get it down to just the warlord, that would be most excellent. Need to create some more space though. Wasn't exactly prepared for this, so that's kind of neat. I think he keeps leveling up. Now he's Duke of Orc. Glad that he doesn't level up the enemies around him. That's contrary to how the third DLC did it. The witch doctors would level up all the orcs around him. This guy levels up himself just as time goes on, so that's kind of neat, and it's definitely different. Alright, so I am almost out of ammo, so luckily there are those 3 little ammo chests there, which I'll need. Go ahead and kill this heartwood tree ant real quick. Excellent. Oh yeah, we need to avoid those shock balls. I wasn't doing that. I wanted to see if he dropped a bee. He didn't, obviously. Whoa! Alright, let's get some ammo. After we kill this tree ant. His melee range is wide and scary. His health is scary if we don't get those critical hits. Alright, and his shock balls are obviously scary. So, luckily there are like 100 ammo chests around here. We'll open them. Hopefully that shock damage over time doesn't completely kill me. That would be bad news. Like I said, personally that is one of the more irritating gameplay mechanics in this particular DLC. I can't imagine why they thought it was a good idea to have those things try to kill you after they're dead. It just makes it impossible to get a second wind in some situations, and I think that that is bad gameplay. Alright, so we've almost dealt with the Duke of Orc here. I'm not sure if this is his highest level, but obviously, you know, each time he levels up, he gets stronger, and his damage resistance goes up because he's already multiple levels above us, and as a result, gets a significant boost to damage reduction. But then he levels up, and then he gets even higher damage reduction. So he can definitely be difficult to kill, especially since his melee attacks are very damaging and have a wide range as well. So we'll go ahead and get this blood fruit stuff. Oops, I was already on the right page. Wait, which one are we on? This one.
Thanks again for taking care of those numbskulls. I left a gun for you, kinda sorta nearby.
No, I'm an idiot. I forgot. Alright, so anyway, this is where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to kill these things. Or maybe not even kill them and just grab the fruit. So there's another pixie about.
Whoa, you didn't say the blood fruit grew on the tree ants.
Well, they do. Think you're cool enough to grab the fruit without killing the tree first?
Alright, I pissed the pixie off. That's one of the problems with using the Pimpernel. But, oh well. One more tree ant to kill here.
How hilarious. You just set off my trap card. Your death approaches.
Alright, so the Overpower level 8 Sniper Zer0 playthrough. It's been a pretty good success thus far.
Your eyes deceive.
You know, the videos aren't as popular as some of my other videos that I've done. But, I mean, it's been enjoyable to record, and the people that do watch it seem to care about it, so that's good, and I thank you very much for that. So what do we have to do now? We have to go turn this into Davlin, and then we will eventually find the Queen. Now, that is way down the line. Obviously, the Queen is quite comical at the point in time at which we do get to her. And they do a good job on having the different factions of enemies fight each other in this particular DLC. That is something that is very cool. They also did a great job with barrel placement, something I always appreciate. Alright, so we're getting closer to the end here. The map design in this DLC is very good as well. I find oh, one of the tree ants did drop a B. How about that? It's Overpower level 8. What's its amp damage compared to a max amp damage B shield, I wonder? It's close. It's not that bad. It has a little better recharge delay. That's actually a decent B shield. So that's kind of cool. Neat. Alright, let's head on. Maybe I should make a huge, overdone reaction video on that B. Oh my god, I can't believe it dropped a B shield. Drop rates in this game are so rare. I can't understand that shit. Some people like it. I don't know. To me, it's fucking asinine. Like, oh, the game functioned as intended? Strange. Alright. This particular map is, yeah, what I thought it was. So, this is where we will pick up in the next episode. As always, guys, I do thank you very much for watching. I guess I'll go ahead and get to the fast travel here. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. I would appreciate that. Otherwise, you know, I do hope to catch you next time. So now we're at this fast travel. I'm going to go ahead and buy some ammo real quick. We're hearing right now, though, that Tina is having a hard time rationalizing that she's also lost Bloodwing. It's showing that she has a hard time with loss. So the story in this one is really well done. So as always, guys, like I said, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I do hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.